I finally have been able to show you the exact process that I did to go from being drunk, lazy, overeating all the time, spending so much money on junk food, to giving up that life and following God fully and finally getting in shape. And what I want to do is start out right here. So in December 17th of 2023, I was in the complete rock bottom. I used to be very, very in shape in high school, and I lost my physique. I gained belly fat, love handles, moves for those who don't know. And I remember looking at pictures of my old self, seeing the way that I used to look back in high school, and then comparing it to myself now. And I remember a specific instance where I was sitting on my bed right after work, and I noticed all of the fat on my stomach and my chest, and I looked back at a picture that I took back in high school and compared both of those pictures side by side. And I never realized just how bad it was until I took that picture and I saw that it was that bad. I was known as the lazy friend. I was always getting drunk. I was spending $15+ every single day on fast food. My friends would always make fun of me because the only thing I ever wanted to do was get drunk. I remember one time we were at a restaurant and the waitress asked if we wanted alcohol. And everybody at the table looked at me and they were like, I guarantee you this guy does. And all of my friends used to make fun of me for being on the fatter side, like chunkier side. They would always say it as a joke, but I always took it personally because I knew deep down that I was getting chunky. I was spending $15+ every single day, especially when I was at work. I always thought it was a lot easier just to grab food at work. And over time, my bank account was going empty because of how much I was spending. And the max that I would hit the gym was 3 days a week, when it used to be 7. I had no daily routine and no diet at all. The only thing that I would do was pick the healthier options at gas stations. So a burrito had meat in it, so I would say that I'm eating healthier, when in reality, I was spending like $10 on the burrito and all the calories were there, so it was just making me fat. And I want to just say, you have to truly understand where I started, or otherwise the blueprint will not work. Mainly because you have to be able to put yourself in my position, not in the same way of you struggle with the same exact things, but you have to understand and take a step back and look at where you're at right now to realize that you need to make a change. And if you can't realize that, then get off the video. Don't even watch this, because there's no point in watching it at all. If you can't realize that where you're at needs to change, then there's no point. But then came to the breaking point. It was July 2023. I remember it like it was yesterday. And this is something I wouldn't normally say, and especially on Instagram or anywhere else. And I haven't even told a lot of people. I think one person knows. But since you're watching this video, and I truly, truly want this to get to your head on how badly you need to change, I'll tell you the story. So it was at night. I was sitting at the table with my mom and we were having a conversation, and she was talking about the issues that we were having in the family. And she started crying and she was telling me that basically my dad didn't love me. We had no money. I was worried about the kids. At one specific moment made me take a step back, and I remember looking at all the things I was doing all the time. I was getting drunk. I was addicted to nicotine. I was never going to church. I never read my Bible. I was never working out. I was overeating like crazy, spending so much money on junk food. And all of those things were flashing before my eyes, realizing I need to change now. It had always been in the back of my head every single time I would get drunk, every single time I would vape. I wanted to change, but I never took action until this specific moment, because it hit me so incredibly hard how badly I needed to change. I wanted to get better for my family. I wanted to be a man that they could look up to. I wanted to be a man that I felt God calling me to be, because I've always felt God calling me to be a better person. I just never listened to it because I love my life too much. It was fun getting drunk. It was fun vaping. But this was the time in my life that I realized I seriously needed to drop it. And I don't want this to go off into that direction, but I don't even want to put the blame on him, because the story later on figured out that that was not true at all. He's a great guy. I love the dude. And I decided that, God, I'm tired of trying to fix these problems on my own, because I've tried reading books. I've tried listening to podcasts. I've tried the red pill lifestyle. I've tried everything. I seriously thought that I could do this on my own, that I didn't need God. And it came to this point of God hitting me in the face, telling me, you need to cut your ways out and start following me, because I know what's best for you. So that's what it took. And so the transformation started out, I literally left every single person in my life. Now, I will say you don't need to do that. I just was that determined to change that I did drop everyone. And I will say, if you're somebody who's easily influenced, you will have to drop everyone, because you will never ever change if everybody's in your ear telling you, oh, it's okay, it's just once in a while. You'll never ever change. So I left everyone to grind alone, all my friends. I went from being addicted, out of shape, stressed, to fulfilled, having my dream physique, and being disciplined every single day with working out, reading the Bible every single day, sticking to my diet. Even when I was constantly working with my firefighter stuff, firefighter certifications, making content, work, flipping cars, working on cars. And the thing is that for you, you're trying to change, but you love your old lifestyle way too much. And most likely for you, what it's going to take is it's going to take a pounding. This is what I like to say to my clients is that some people, God could just tell them, hey, change from your ways, and they'll change. But if he knows that you're not going to change when he tells you to, sometimes it's going to take a pounding for you to change. So I had went from being out of shape, addicted to drinking, addicted to vaping, extremely inconsistent, not disciplined. I was playing video games all the time, to finally getting my dream physique, reading the Bible every single day, constantly following God, constantly talking to him, making my meals every single day. It's all because I started building a faith-based discipline. I have tried many, many ways to stay disciplined, whether it's better diets, better workouts, like shorter stuff. This meal tastes better, like all that stuff. But the one thing, I've been consistent for the past 2 years now and counting with all of this, and it's because of my faith-based discipline. And these were my first wins within less than 2 months. Like this is how quick it happened. Quit my nicotine and drinking addiction, built healthier habits, lost 14 pounds. Like this was the transformation. I show people this picture a lot of the time and they're like, no absolute way. Look at the dates up here, right there, right there. Literally within 2 months. You can even see my hair as well. Like look at that. And the reason why I show you my bench here is to show you this is how I track muscle progress. So I went from 177 pounds to 164 pounds, but my bench went from 215 for 1 rep to 225 for 2 reps. And this is something that is very, very common if you're just starting out with working out, is like you can gain muscle and lose fat at the same exact time if you're completely consistent. But ever since then, I've just been continuing in my walk with God, building in more better habits every single day, constantly reading the Bible more, constantly making new meals, sticking to the meals, started going to church more often. I stay consistent in the gym every single day on top of work, on top of all the stuff that I do. And I even stay on track with my diet while I'm at work. This is me with my eating lunchbox right there. And as you can see, these habits right here helped produce the fruit of being in shape. That's what a lot of people don't realize, is that it's not you trying to get in shape and then the habits will produce. It's you produce the habits, and the byproduct right here, the byproduct of those habits becomes the physique. Good habits are a byproduct of following God, and being in shape, overcoming addictions is a byproduct of those good habits. So within 5 months, I went from 164 to 206, 225 bench for 2 to 225 bench for 5. 4 months. Like, I don't even have to say it. You can just read all this. 5 months, 4 months, 3.5 months, 4 months. I went from 164, 206 to 174, 194, 175. Went from 225 for 2 to 225 for 8. And within a total of 1.5 years, 177 pounds, and I weigh less now, but look how much better my bench is within 1.5 years. And it's all because of the habits that I built, because of my faith-based discipline and following God. And this is the entire blueprint that I use. And number 1 is setting the foundation. You have to understand where you're at and where you need to be. And I'm telling you, if you skip this part, once again, click off of the video and don't even try farther, because you will not succeed. I'm telling you, you will not succeed. The first thing that I did when I decided I needed to make a change was I took a step back, looked at where I was at, looked at the parts of my life that I knew needed change, and I figured out the exact goals I wanted to hit and how to hit them based off of those goals. So take a step back, see where you're currently at, find what's holding you back, and find what exact goals you want to hit. Because this is what I tell all my clients too. It's like, if you do not do this, it's like you're just throwing darts in the dark, trying to hit the bullseye, but you have no clue what you're hitting because you don't even know what goals you have. You don't truly know where you're at. You haven't took a step back. So all you're doing is like trying to hit your goals. I'm trying to stay more consistent, in what? What are you trying to stay more consistent in? What are the things that you want to get better at? Where is the point you want to be at? Like it's different for everybody. And from the exact goals you want to hit, like I said, it's impossible to stay consistent and build a plan that works when you don't have a clue of what you're working toward. And this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to look better than I did back in high school. And this was the example I said at the start. This was me in high school. Look at my chest right there. Broad, it was out like that. And I remember I was sitting on my bed right after work. And I was sitting down. I was like, holy cow. I cannot believe how much I lost myself. My chest went from this to that. I can see my rolls right there. That's where it cuts. That's where it cuts. I realized just how badly I lost myself, and I wanted to look better than I did here. Next thing I wanted to do, I wanted to start following God wholeheartedly. I was depressed. I was so anxious. At this point in time, I was still getting over my breakup from high school. This relationship that I was in, it was literally the best relationship I've ever been in. Neither one of us wanted to break up, but it had to happen. And I was constantly thinking about her. So depressed. It was the only thing that was on my mind 24/7. And then the stress of constantly drinking, constantly vaping, not following God, like having no It was like I had no clue what I was working towards. So that was the other thing I wanted to do, is follow God wholeheartedly, not just like reading the Bible, going to church, learning about these. No, I wanted to become the best man of God I could be. And I wanted to get rid of my bad habits and unrepentant lifestyle. As you can see, I was drinking, constantly addicted to nicotine. And like I said, if you were to ask my friends, every single one of them would tell you that I was the most addicted to all of these things out of every single person that we hung out with. I would sneak home Gatorade bottles full of Fireball just to drink them alone. As you can see in this photo, look at that. 3 in my hand at once. I would stay up till 4 a.m. hitting vapes, and I would go through a disposable in like 3 days. And my goodness, the amount of junk food. Got myself a spider burger from Burger King right here. I would spend $15+ every single day, whether it was fast food, whether it was gas station food at work. I was constantly spending money. So I wanted to get rid of those habits. I knew that they were killing me. I knew that they were hurting my walk with God. And I wanted to be happy with what I saw in the mirror. Back in high school, I used to love my physique. I honestly was like way too prideful in it. So I'm thankful that God got me out of that, because I was way too prideful in it. But my goodness, I hated the way I looked. All of these things I'm pointing out to you, like I just like, looking back at this, it makes me like not tear up, but I cannot believe, like, you don't understand the amount of pain that I had looking at myself in the mirror. So now that I knew everything, I wrote everything down actually on a notebook and in the notes in my phone. The exact goals I wanted to hit within 3 months. The exact things that were holding me back, where exactly I was at right now, and how I was going to get there. Those are the 4 things. Next, you need to build the systems, getting the right plans, routines, everything set in place. So now you need to build the systems to get you there based off the exact goals you want to hit. This is what I mean, like, your exact goals are going to be different from everybody else's. So you cannot copy another person's process to get you where you want. Imagine you want to lose weight. You can't copy somebody who's trying to gain weight with their meal plans and their workouts, because it's not the same. If you're trying to lose weight and they're trying to gain weight and you copy their meals, you're just going to gain weight too, because that's what they're doing, is they're gaining weight. It's the same thing with like addictions. It's the same thing with, following God and all that. And this is the thing as well, is like, you need to build a meal plan you actually enjoy, a workout plan that fits your schedule, a daily routine that supports it. Because this is the example I was saying. If you copy other people's meals to get them where they got themselves, you might not even enjoy it. Like, let's say somebody is losing weight and they're only eating chicken and rice, but you hate chicken and rice. So you have to find a meal plan that you enjoy, that you could stick to every single day. Same thing with a workout plan that fits your schedule. If you're somebody that's constantly working like me, you need a workout plan that's like 30 to 45 minutes. Or like, if you don't want to get gigantic, you need less workouts. If you want to be more lean than anything, then you need to do less volume, higher reps. Like, it's completely different with every single person. So you have to figure out what works best for you with the meal plans, with the workout plans, and your daily routine to support all of it. And I'm telling you, the daily routine is like the biggest thing to help you with your workouts and meal plans. That's what helps me every single day, staying consistent in the gym, with my diets, with on top of working, on top of making content, on top of flipping cars, on top of, all of this stuff, is I have a daily routine every single day to keep me in track, to where I don't even have to think about when to work out, what meals to eat, because I'm so consistent with my daily routine, doing the same exact things every single day, that like, it's a habit now. Like, this is my lifestyle. I don't even think about it. And this is what I was saying earlier. Copying other people's meal plans online is not going to work. Downloading random workouts on your phone isn't going to work. That's what I used to do. I would download TikToks of just a bunch of workouts on my phone and just keep them in a little storage unit on my phone and just go through them. It won't work, because those workouts are not the same type of workouts that you want to get to where you want to be. It's different for every single person. And you cannot stick to it whenever it's convenient. Your specific situation requires a specific way of getting there, like I've been saying. I personally was always working on cars. I was working lawn care. I was getting my firefighting certification. I just started making content. So I built the correct routines according to my goals, lifestyle, and preferences. I wanted Cane's chicken. Boom, right there. Healthy Cane's chicken. I wanted Mongolian beef. I think that's what this was. So boom, just made some Chinese chicken. I think it was chicken, maybe not. I needed workouts that were shorter. I needed a day to go and grab my meals, because I couldn't just grab my meals every single day in the store. I needed one specific day. This brings me to number 3, growing the faith-based discipline. This is like by far the most important part out of all of it. So as a Christian, you have to understand that overcoming addictions and growing in faith, getting in shape and all that, those are byproducts of your faith. You have to truly understand how following God works. It's not you try harder to produce good fruits so God loves you more, and then you fail and you think God doesn't love you, and then become extremely stressed and stop trying because you think God doesn't love you anymore. And then the loop continues. You go back. You try harder to produce good fruits. You keep trying. That is the most stressful thing you'll ever do, and I'm telling you, you'll get burnt out so fast. This is what it truly is. You love Jesus for saving you. You want to stay obedient to him because of that, and then you naturally produce good fruits. Love, patience, self-control, discipline. Those are the things that are staying obedient to him. As Jesus said, if you love me, you will obey my commandments. And then, as a byproduct of this, you get in shape, you quit your addictions, you stay consistent in the gym, you stop worrying so much, because these are the fruits that you've been producing. Think about it. If you produce the fruit of discipline, you are going to go to the gym when it's hard. If you produce this fruit of self-control, you'll stick to your diet when everybody else isn't. If you produce the fruit of patience, you'll stop worrying so much because you know that God has a plan for you and you know it'll happen eventually. And this is like the biggest thing that I live by. And one of the things that I had on my page is, imagine you have two different trees. A bad tree produces bad fruit and a good tree produces good fruit. They don't try to produce the fruits. It's a bad tree, so it naturally produces bad fruits. It's a good tree, so it naturally produces good fruits. It's not they tried to produce, like imagine a bad tree trying to produce good fruit. It just won't happen no matter what. It naturally just produces bad fruits. So what you need to do is focus on becoming a good tree, and the good fruits will naturally produce. You don't think about trying to produce good fruits like, I want to be more disciplined. That's not how it works. You become a good man through Christ, and the fruits will naturally produce through that. And through those fruits, you'll get in shape, get over your addiction, stay consistent in the gym and all that. I am telling you, understanding that will help you so much with all of this. And the last but not least, executing daily, which is the consistency of all of it. And I'd also have to argue is also one of the most important parts. Working out, eating on track, following God most of the time will never get you where you want to be. What I used to tell myself all the time in the past was like, I've been working outside all day today because I was working long term. I'll just work out tomorrow. It's just a weekend. I can enjoy myself. So I just go and get drunk with my friends because, I had a hard week, and the weekends is just for myself to enjoy. I'll eat out once. It'll never hurt. But the thing is that every single day I would say that. Every single weekend I was doing that. I was working every single day, so I would tell myself that I'll just work out tomorrow every single day. So you have to think about it like this. You can say, I'll just do it tomorrow. I only did this once. It's only the weekend. How many days of the month are there? 30 to 31. How many weekends are there? 8. 8 days in the weekend. That's 8 out of the 31 days you're staying inconsistent, which is around 1/4 of the time you're not staying consistent. That's for the weekend. And then now imagine you've been working outside every single day. Let's say that's 5 days a week. So that means every single day, every single weekday, you're not staying consistent. And then you're eating out just once so it doesn't hurt. So if that's once a week, that's 4 days out of the month. So think about that. 31 days of the month. 8 of those days are the weekends and you're not staying consistent. Every single day you're working outside, which is 20 days, which is basically the rest of the month that you're not staying consistent. So every single time you say, oh, most of the time I'm staying consistent, most of the time I'm doing it, you're not actually staying consistent as much as you think you are, and you're lying to yourself, and you're actually losing progress by saying that. So what you need to do is stay consistent every single day, no matter if it's a weekend, no matter if it's a weekday, no matter if you had a long day at work, no matter if you never get to eat out with your friends. You have to stay consistent every single day. Understand that your body is a temple for the Holy Spirit, and that will never change. So my habits will never change no matter what comes up. It's like saying on the weekdays, your body is a temple on the days that you'd like to stay consistent, but all of a sudden it's not a temple on the days that you don't want to stay consistent, like on the weekends. How on earth does that make sense? So you have to start treating it as a temple every single day instead of treating it like a trash bin on the weekend. And I say this works substantially well. This guy right here, he literally had absolutely zero experience with the gym. He hasn't been in the gym since high school, which was, I believe, 10 years. And he lost 20 pounds within a span of 3 months right here. And this is also why I will tell you about the consistency. So as you can see right here, this was his inconsistency. He was only doing it on the weekdays, not on the weekends. And it finally came to a point, I have all the right systems for him. It's a matter of him wanting to stay consistent with it. Right here, he finally decided, you know what? I'm going to start staying consistent. And would you look at that? Dropped right down. Same thing as another client of mine right here. It was every other day. He was like, oh, I'll stay consistent this day, but this day I won't. Look at that. It's just a straight line. But right here, he was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm going to stay consistent. And then you got right here with another client. This guy was just consistent overall. He did a very, very good job. He gained 15 pounds within a span of 3 months just because he was staying consistent. And I am telling you, This blueprint will 1,000,000% work no matter what type of man that you are. For me, you can see, as how I used to be, here I am now. Another client right here. Same exact thing. Lost 20 pounds. And this man, I will tell you, if you heard his lifestyle, like a lot of people would have quit within like a week. This guy has been through so much trouble, whether it's deaths in his family, car crashes, medical issues, epilepsy. Like this guy has been through so much and he still lost 20 pounds. And he quit his drinking addiction. And I remember in one of my calls, he was telling me, he was like, I literally forgot that I used to get drunk all the time. Like I didn't realize how much I relied on it until I quit. And here's another client in the Navy. He was able to make this transformation. Here's another client. And here is another one. Gained 20 pounds, I believe 4 months. But I will say, 2 months ago, I lost myself again. I went back into my nicotine addiction. So after following God for so long and being in this lifestyle, I started to hang out with my friends again, the friends that I left, because I realized that, like, honestly, I just ditched them. I don't even think that's what Jesus would have done. So I went back to hang out with them, taught them about God. They started being more interested about God. But then I started to go back to how I was. I was telling myself that it's just one cigarette, it won't hurt. It's just one smoke, it won't hurt. But then one turned into two. And then doing it with my friends turned to doing it without my friends. And then I was doing it every single day. And I was telling myself, I was like, it's only a couple times. Like, I'm not really addicted. I can just quit whenever. I've already quit before. And then I realized, I was like, this is exactly what I told myself in the past. And I fell back into my addiction. And I realized, like, I thought the old life that I had, like, I was having fun with it. I was enjoying the nicotine. I was enjoying being around my friends. I thought it was greater than my new life that I had in Christ. And then just recently, a couple weeks ago, I want to say a week and a half ago, I actually quit it again and realized that God had let me go back into my old lifestyle to realize just how great I had it with him. And what the example I like to give is like the Israelites in the Old Testament. When they were saved from Egypt, God made it rain manna from heaven. He gave them water from a rock. He gave them birds to eat. He saved them from the literal worst slavery ever. And you know what they said after all of those years of God feeding them was, I want to go back to Egypt because they had better food. And that's what I realized was happening in my life, was that I thought that I had it better before, but God allowed me to go back to realize that this wasn't it and that following him was all I needed. So now I actually appreciate following him even more than I did in the past. And I'm not addicted to nicotine anymore. There is a way to get in shape and follow God without hating your life and wanting to go back. You can stay consistent every single day without feeling burnt out or stressed. You don't have to feel like you're walking on ice to succeed with your walk with God. This is the exact system I help my clients in my mentorship implement now. This is the stuff, everything I'm giving you is what has helped all of these clients. But I will say there is a limited amount of people that I work with because I want to make sure everybody succeeds. I've personally been in mentorships where they would accept so many people that I was not getting attention at all. So what I like to do with my mentorship is work with a very, very minimal amount of people so I can give everybody the utmost attention that I can. So if you are dead serious about making this transformation, if you're sick and tired of seeing how much better you used to look back in high school in old pictures, tired of watching other people take their shirt off without feeling insecure, tired of getting drunk every single weekend right after you said you'd quit, and you want me to personally help you implement this system in your life, there is a link in my description. But before you click it, ask yourself, am I really ready to invest in my future? Am I willing to do whatever it takes to make this work? Am I coachable enough to follow a proven system? Do not be the person who watches this video, gets inspired, but then does nothing.